Hello, this is Samsa again, and welcome to The Last Federation. So, now that I'm basically done with Strike Suit Zero, and I've also uploaded the rest of the Eldritch series, I figured I would play a game that I pretty much just love. So that's The Last Federation from Arkan Games. This is sort of a well, some people have described this game as sort of a reverse 4X game. So basically what we are basically one ship in a solar system populated by various aliens. And our job is to form the Last Federation, but you'll get to the story soon enough. But that's basically the idea. So it's sort of a strategic game in that we have to mess with all kinds of space civilizations so that they will not destroy themselves, and so that we can get them to ally with us and we can defeat our enemies and form a lasting federation to stop wars from happening. So let's start the game. I'm just going to play the standard Federation formation. So I have the Betrayed Hope DLC or the expansion, but in my opinion, the Betrayal game mode is a bit weird, and Invasion is not a good first place to show this game. Once I'm done with this, I might try Invasion, but I don't think I'm going to play Betrayal ever, because I just don't like that game mode. In my opinion, it's just a poor 4X. But in any case, I'm going to go with normal strategic and combat difficulties. And I'm going to crash land on a random civilization. What this means that when you start the game, you're going to crash land on one of the civilizations and you will get their beginning technology. So that means you will get a certain kind of a spaceship. And that will also mean that once we actually escape from that planet, they are going to get quite pissed. I'm going to disable... I'm not going to have extra dangerous alliances enabled, nor will I have permadeath enabled, because I usually die at least a couple of times. And Iron Man, nope. No thank you. I'm going to go with this. So I actually went back to show you this. This is where the plot is explained a bit better, so that I don't have to do it myself. So I'm going to be reading this to you. I am the last of the murdered race of Hydrals. We took to the stars and shut down the manned launches of everyone else. My countrymen were dictators of the solar system, so we kinda had it coming. Yes, that's me above, and you are me. This is our story. Yes. I was the sole survivor of a surprise attack by two of the races thanks to a renegade mission I undertook, betraying the other Hydrals to bring spacefaring technology to our potential rivals. Turns out when you strap rockets to a moon, you can catch even the dictators off guard. My ultimate goal? The creation of a peaceful, unified federation of planets. Only then we can be safe from the kinds of atrocities my race committed and the kinds that were committed against us. Naturally, upon my crash landing at this planet, I was placed in captivity, having no concept of my strength. Having no concept of my strength, they did not realize that I was merely waiting. I waited for years. Stardate, first one Proto 3000. My dream of a universal federation is as alive as ever. And now the Accusans have finally gotten themselves into orbit. After spending so much time with me as a peaceful captive, they were ill prepared for my escape. I have commandeered the first prototype executor, and now the Accusans are in hot pursuit. We're actually not possibly going to have Accusans as the race that we are up against at first, but you're going to see what race we get once we are there. The Accusans are still in the process of ramping up their space industry, so that gives me a short window of opportunity. But soon their mechanical CEOs will be looking to make planetary acquisitions. These dangerous, immoral robots destroyed the last remnants of my race after the Evox almost wiped us out. Having them as my enemy was a given, I think. Here they come. I outclassed this force so severely that it will be almost impossible to lose, so now is a good time to put my ship through its paces. But I still have to be careful. If they manage to take out my ship, I will be just as dead now as later. Yes, but we're not actually going to go with this. I'm actually going to go back to the main menu. And here we go. So, instead of... Actually, we have Accusans as our enemy. Oh, that's surprising. But in any case, this is the space combat. And these ships here are against us. They want us taken down because we just escaped from them in this prototype executor ship. So, the race was randomly selected. And in this case it was the Accusans. I don't mind because that works actually better in the context of the lore of this game. So the space combat is done in turns. So every time, every turn you make your decisions, you select which weapons you're going to use. I'm just going to use the energy blasters because most of these have... Well, this guy doesn't have any shields, but these guys do. So I'm going to have the energy blasters active. And we are going to be starting... We'll start firing soon enough. And as you can see, each turn is basically like about a second of real time. And this is basically how the space combat is going to work. Of course, this is just a small bit of the game. We will be messing with all kinds of other stuff. So we could do a bunch of damage with the Giga Cannon, but I'm going to select the Gravity Lance for now. I actually think we might fire the Giga Cannon. And that's one of their capital ships destroyed. Now we are just going to have to take care of these little guys. I'm going to activate the miniguns for that purpose. So, as you probably already saw, we also, in addition to our weapons, we have the special abilities. This is the Giga Cannon, which can be used to destroy ships, mostly just capital ships. It isn't all that effective against like small ships, frigates, corvettes, etc. We also have Operation Raptor, so we can launch some of our own little interceptors. And we can deploy Orbital Bomber, and this guy will bomb the planet below. We don't want to do that, because we don't want to mess with the Accusans too much. This game is all about balance. We can also divert more power to shields. That will simply increase our shields, which show up here. And energy resistance, and this is just allied ships within range 5 turns of immunity to energy-based attack. So that's just an ability to protect our allies. In this case, we don't really care. But yeah, let's just quickly destroy all of these flagships and be done with it. Okay, one more remaining. So this is sort of like oh, these guys still have their shields. I'm going to have to enable the energy blasters. These guys are not too bad, because these ships are still very, very early ships. Okay, they're out of that stuff, so we're going to focus on them with the Gravity Lance. That should tear them apart just nicely, and we can escape. Excellent. So the Accusans quite hate us right now. We destroyed basically their whole fleet, and now they are the influence to the our influence towards them is -100. Well, actually -102. 0 is neutral and 100 is basically friends. And it can go both ways still, so 102 isn't the worst. But yeah, if we want to properly form a federation, we need all of the races in the solar system. That includes Acutians. But we are going to have to see what we can do. So this here is the solar map, and this shows us all of the different races. So each planet has its own race. So this is the planet of the Acutians. And currently only the Acutians have spacefaring technology, because we have blown up everyone else's spacefaring technology, well, basically all the time. But these numbers here actually show when they are going to get into space. So actually the next civilization to get into space is the Boreans. Not Boreans, the Burlust. And that's actually pretty bad. I might have to actually bring a powerful race into space to combat these guys. So all of these races have different, well, abilities, and they also behave differently. The Burlusts, they are warriors, and well, basically they need to be at war all the time. And of course that means that they are extremely difficult to bring into the Federation. But these guys are not the most dangerous race ever, because they like to just fight wars with everyone. That means they are usually the planet that gets basically just sieged by everyone, because they piss off everyone, and everyone just likes to send their warships into their orbit and destroy their whole fleet. But they are extremely difficult to wipe out without orbital bombardment. They are superior ground fighters. Basically the only race that can properly defy them is the Thoraxians. And once these guys go into space, we might have to bring the Thoraxians into space so that they can fight each other while we focus on these other civilizations that are not necessarily as powerful. We got a quest from the Boreans. They want terraforming specs, and that would increase our influence on them, well, significantly, and we would also gain 10,500 credits for that. And that's actually good. We don't necessarily want to bring the Boreans into space quite yet. It might actually, well, no, it wouldn't, because the Boreans are extremely few and far between. I'm hoping that if these guys get into space, they will just declare war on the Acutians and start fighting. The Acutians should, as long as the Burlusts don't do a ground invasion, they should be just fine. So I'm going to accept this. And this means that I'm going to smuggle in technology. And these other races don't really like it when you have tech brought to other planets. So that's a spy probe. So they have set up, well, in this case it's just the Acutians, but the other races like to set up their own defenses around the planets so that they would be able to guard these planets from me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase power to my engines so that I am as maneuverable as possible. And because I don't want to get spotted, I'm just going to quickly fly past the defenses and hope that I won't piss off the Acutians in the process too much. There we go. So the technical documents have been delivered, and the Boreans quite like us. So we might actually be able to form a federation with the Boreans. Also, it's 2 seconds until the Burlusts come here, so we might as well deliver the spacefaring tech. We just need to avoid getting caught. In this case, it doesn't even matter. We are just simply getting them into space 1 second earlier than before, and we are going to get some free influence for that, and also 15,000 credits. The credits are currently not as usable as, well, possible, but they are definitely going to be a lot more useful once we get people like the Skylaxians into space. Also, it helps immensely to get some influence over the Burlusts. And
the Burlust warlords are now spacefaring.
Ouch, the accusations.
They
Yeah,
seem
we ran
likely to
into.
take their constant internal wars to the solar stage.
Yeah, as you probably heard, this ship AI just told us that the Burlusts, they just like to fight wars. And sadly we got caught by the accusations. I should have been a lot more careful, but that just means that they hate us a bit more. We might...
Another maggot pox outbreak.
Oh.
On a computer and it gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Interesting. So, Burlusts are just spreading hate, and they also got the maggot pox. And that means that they are going to have some internal problems for a while. And they got it by getting an ancient artifact, it seems. In any case, now we have two races in the space, and one of them hates us, one of them is kinda okay with us. We might want to help these guys just a bit. Actually, I probably don't. It's dangerous to help these guys, because if they get too powerful, they can easily dominate the whole system. We technically still win, because there's only one civilization left, if we get them into the Federation, that is. But it's not perfect. Maybe I should do something to get these guys into some early fights, and then I could maybe bring the Skylaxians and the Andors into space. Or maybe even the Boreans. The Boreans are a bit difficult to deal with, but they are generally rather fair. I'm actually going to visit the Burlust warlords. So, each civilization sort of works a bit differently. The Boreans don't, or rather the Burlusts, I always mix those two up. The Burlusts don't care about credits. They don't have a use for that. What they care about is leverage, and you get leverage by killing either the prime warlord or one of the secondary warlords. But you can only do that once in a set of, well, in a period of time. I don't remember what that time was. But let's see. So I have no leverage at the moment because I haven't fought with their warlords at all. But I might be if I I could. Which one was the prime? Ripig. So if I do this, this is going to increase. We'll gain a ton of leverage with Ripig, and it's also going to gain some leverage with these other guys. And it's also, surprisingly, it's also going to increase our influence because they like warriors. In fact, if you sell people as slaves, they are actually going to like you because, well, that's what they do. But this also means that we are probably going to, yeah, the prime will die and another will be selected. But it's still a good deal, I think, as long as they don't actually get any new technology. So this means that we are currently in a duel. We might want to increase some power to our shields and weapons. So these warlords are a bit more dangerous, so we are definitely going to have to be a lot more careful with these guys. So this is something you would possibly see in like a shoot-'em-up game. These, especially these boss type, they don't have any shields. So I need to use the minigun. Okay, well, I guess that's fine. But yeah, the combat is very similar to something you would possibly find in a shoot-'em-up. The only difference is that this is, of course, in completely turn-based, well, way. So we are slowly destroying them. This is going to probably take a while. But hopefully it's not going to be too hard. Also, we are running into stuff, so... Oh, that was nice. I somehow avoided all of that. The AI isn't stupid either. They are actually going to use various different patterns and weapons, depending on the situation. So yeah, I'm doing like 130 something damage per turn, and they still have like 4 million damage. Well, 4 million health, hull integrity or whatever. So we're just going to have to fly around them for a while. It shouldn't be too long. And I still have plenty of... Actually, we might as well do... Oh, I can't, because when you are in a duel you are not supposed to use your special abilities, so that means you are limited to only your basic weaponry, if I recall correctly. So I can't use my Operation Raptor at all. Nor can I use my emergency shield power. But I should be fine without it. Ouch. Okay, I'm taking some hits. I'm not taking any damage, but the situation is looking a bit worse. Okay. We are nearly there. Ouch. Okay, we might want to increase our power to shields just a bit. Actually, that was a bad choice, but oh well. I'm going to increase my power to shields so that I will get the shields back a bit faster. Okay, just 1 million health left, so that I should be fine. But yeah, especially with these small battles, the game can be a bit boring. But we are not going to be fighting duels all the time. Once we get into some of the bigger space battles, it should be a bit more interesting. Okay, and I think 2 more passes and we should be there. I'm just going to increase some power to weapons to do more extra. And there we go. So now that means we now have 100 100 influence, so that means we are approved. And if I had the leverage, I could create a strong federation, and that would mean that I would get the Burlosts, the Accusans, and the Boreans into the federation. I think this might actually be a good choice. But what this means that for now I can't do anything, because I can only duel every 59 months. But if I wait that 59 months, I can come back and I can... currently the prime is Modbor. So if I do that, I should get 3000 more leverage. And thus I could create a strong federation. That might actually be the quickest way to form a federation. The problem with that is that we are basically basing our entire federation on power. And that might end badly for the rest of the races. So we might want to consider alternate routes. Maybe Peltians. Actually, that doesn't work because that involves, I believe, Thoraxians, and Thoraxians are annoying to deal with. Usually, I end up just completely wiping Thoraxians and the Burlusts out, but we're going to have to see. Now what we need to do is we need to decide who we are going to bring into space next. We could bring either one of our friends or a force that will sort of balance the situations out. Actually Boreans might not be a bad idea. Boreans are good with ships. And they should be able to keep the Burlusts at bay while we could form a federation to this corner of space. I mean, it's well, there's a way to sneak the Acutians in using the Skylaxians. I'm sort of afraid what might happen here. We need some sort of balance in the... Actually, Thoraxians might just wipe everything out entirely. And if I bring some weak races, that might just end about as badly. I'm going to gamble a bit. I'm going to bring the Thoraxians into space. And I'm hoping that what I can do is I can... Actually, maybe I should definitely avoid that as long as possible. I'm going to bring the Boreans. They usually don't declare wars unless provoked. I'm also going to hire diplomats here. That will increase the chance that I will get missions from these guys. I'm also going to hire a diplomat for you, even though you most certainly hate me. Let's get the Boreans into space. So we are going to have to be careful. We don't want to get caught. So that's our destination. So let's put all of the power I have available to me, and let's fly to the delivery points as fast as possible. There we go.
The Boreans are now spacefaring. They are solitary and dangerous. They may be a difficult ally.
They are most definitely a bit of a difficult ally because they don't like... well, actually, it was the Evox who don't like to be, well, messed with. They don't like when you do stuff like try to influence their opinions and stuff like that. They just hate it. But what I have now is I have two fairly big powers here. I'm just hoping that they might just go into war with each other. And I'm hoping that the Boreans can sort of just prosper here, because I'm sort of basing my Federation idea on these guys. And if I can sneak the Skylaxians, actually, can I do that? I'm not sure if I can sneak the Skylaxians into a strong Federation. That might actually be a bad choice. But considering that we already have these guys in space, we might just go with the strong Federation and see what happens. I have no idea what might happen. At the moment I have plenty of credits. I might actually want to sneak in another race into space. Skylaxians are usually relatively good, and they can be used as a way to easily form a federation. So no, I'm not interested in their planets at the moment. I'm also going to hire a diplomat for you guys. Okay, so let's find out if I can do this. These are naturally going to get harder and harder all the time because we are seeing even more space probes. But I should be able to do this. There we go.